In this video, I'm going to show you how to test your Facebook ads effectively. That means testing them in a way that gets you better results faster, and how to do it in a way that doesn't burn cash, because you want to get to that end result of a successful Facebook ad campaign as quickly and as cost effectively as possible, right? So despite what some people may have you believe, there is no secret hack or no special boxes to tick in the right order inside the Facebook ad manager in order to succeed with Facebook ads. What it really comes down to is having a strategic and well thought out approach to testing, and then following through with that so you can continually improve your results, meaning lower your cost, increase your return on ad spend until you get to where you need to be, and then you can scale. When it comes to testing Facebook ads, there are three things you need to get right: audience, creative, and copy. Get all three things right and you'll have a very successful Facebook ad campaign on your hands. Here's how you do it. First, make sure you hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Look, it really does help the channel and I would really appreciate it if you enjoy this video just to hit the like button. And if you want to hear more from me, hit subscribe and hit the little bell to get notified whenever I release a new video. Now, on a serious note, let's look at how we actually get this testing process right. The first thing I want to say to you is if you already have data, if you already have audiences that work, or you already know what creatives work, or you already have some copy that works, don't start there. Use what you already know and start testing the other areas. Now, that said, the first thing that I like to test when I'm starting from scratch is audiences. And the reason for that is because I want to test the things that make the biggest difference first and then move down. And targeting the right audiences has a huge impact on your campaign. If you're not targeting the right people with your ads, then your chances of success are very small. So here's how I like to test audiences to start with. First thing you're going to do is set up a new campaign and use ad set budget. So I don't use campaign budget optimization at this stage simply because when you use CBO, Facebook decides which ad set to allocate the budget to. And if we're testing audiences, then we're going to have one ad set per audience that we want to test. And we want to make sure that each of those ad sets gets the same amount of spend going to it. Because when we look at our data, we need to make sure that we have a reasonable volume for each ad set or audience so that we can make smart decisions. If we went with CBO, what might end up happening is some ad sets might end up getting a lot of money spent on them and some might get very little or even no money spent on them. So we wouldn't be able to then make a judgment as to whether they were good or bad. So we want to choose ad set budgeting in our campaign. Now, inside that campaign, we're going to create our very first ad set. And inside that ad set, you're going to set up your targeting for the first audience that you want to test. Then when it comes to budget, I recommend a daily budget and setting it to 5 to 10 times the desired cost per lead that you're looking for. So if you're running to a webinar or let's say a PDF or a checklist or a cheat sheet and you're bringing in leads, meaning email subscribers, and let's say you want to get an email subscriber for $5 each, you should set your ad set budget to 5 to 10 times that amount. So if $5 was your desired cost per lead, you would set the budget between $25 and $50. So if you're selling a $50 product and the most you want to pay per customer is $20, then you would set your ad set budget to somewhere between $20 and $40, 1 to 2 times your desired cost per purchase. Now, when it comes to placements, I like to choose manual placements and just remove the audience network. The reason for that is it's one less variable and I don't generally see great results on the audience network, so I like to go in and remove that. And then just set everything else up as you normally would for your campaigns. If you've got specific audiences you need to exclude, do that. If there are specific demographics that you need to target, go ahead and set that up all as you usually would. The next thing to do is set up 3 to 4 ads inside your new ad set. So go in, set up these ads, each one with a different creative, meaning image or video. Now I like to do it so I've got a mix. Maybe it's 2 images and a video. Maybe it's an image, a video, and a carousel. But make sure you have a good mix of creative in there, and also use the same copy for each ad in this first case. The reason being because we don't want too many variables and we don't want any more than 3 to 4 ads inside the ad set, because otherwise what happens is, again, Facebook doesn't allocate budget evenly. So if we have more than 3 to 4 ads in an ad set, what you'll end up finding is Facebook allocates a lot of budget to some of the ads and then not very much to others. So we don't get any meaningful data from that test. Now, once you've got that set up, simply duplicate the ad set somewhere between 2 and 4 times, depending on how many audiences you would like to test. Now, generally, the number of audiences that you want to test comes back to the total budget that you have available for testing. So if you have a large budget for testing, you're going to test more audiences. If you have a small budget, then obviously you're going to be able to run fewer tests at any given time. Let's go back to our example where we were using $25 a day for that first ad set. If you have, let's say, a total daily budget of $100, that means you can have 4 different ad sets running at $25 a day each to reach your maximum daily spend. Now, if you only had a $50 a day maximum budget and you were running $25 per ad set, then obviously you could only have 2 ad sets running, meaning you could only test 2 audiences at a time. The number of tests you can run is directly related to your total daily budget. So once you duplicate the ad set in the new ad sets, meaning the duplicates, just change the audience in each one to a different audience that you would like to test. So what you should have are a series of ad sets, each one with a different audience. Now, a couple of tips on setting up your audience as well. First thing I will say is don't go all 2015 on me and set up individual interests for each ad set, okay? That used to be a thing way back. It's not anymore. What I like to do with interests instead is bunch them into logical groups. So let's say you have one ad set with a bunch of interests that are all influencers in your industry. You might have another ad set that contains tools that your particular avatar uses, and then maybe another ad set that is a lookalike audience of your customers. That's the other thing I'll say here is you should have an ad set that targets a lookalike, and then you should have another ad set, for example, that has a bunch of interests in it, and then, under the lookalike or whatever you want. But inside your campaign, you should have some ad sets that target lookalikes and some ad sets that target interests. The next thing you're going to do is start your ads, okay? Start running the ads, and I want you to leave them for 5 days minimum. 5 to 7 days is how long you want to run these, because that's how long it's going to take you to get reliable data. Now, if after 3 days you do notice that maybe one ad set is really bad, like the performance is terrible, then I might go in and turn that individual ad set off, okay? But generally, I let them run for 5 days unless there's something in there that's just so bad you know it's not going to ever be anywhere near your desired KPI. Now, after that 5-day testing period, you're going to notice that some of your ad sets have outperformed others by quite a margin. Those are your winners. They're your better audiences out of the ones that you tested, okay? So what you've just done there is you've run your first audience test and you found that out of all the audiences you've tested, you know which ones are the best performers and which ones weren't so great. So before you go making any changes, turning ad sets off and things like that, I want you to understand a really important concept here because it often gets overlooked. Now, you should have gone into the testing process with a series of KPIs already set. KPIs meaning goals. So like, let's say you want to achieve leads for less than $5. Your KPI is a lead cost of $5. If you wanted to acquire a customer for less than $20, then your KPI there would be a cost per purchase of under $20. Anything below that is good, anything above that is not good. So I want you to look at these audiences and you should be paying attention to the ones that are beating your KPI, that are better than your goal. Anything that is better than your goal, we're going to reuse those audiences. Anything that is not, then we can scrap those audiences and deem them as a failed test. And now that takes us to the second part of the testing process, which is testing your creatives. What you'll notice after doing that first round of testing is you'll also see that some of your ads have performed better than others. And I want you to look at this in aggregate. So let's say you've run 5 different ad sets, meaning you tested 5 different audiences, and you've had the same 3 to 4 ads in each of those ad sets. I want you to roll up the data and look at all of the data for each ad in an aggregate setting. And that will allow you to pull all the data together and see which ads perform the best and which ad didn't perform so well. What we're trying to see here is if one type of creative outperformed another, or if one particular creative outperformed everything else. So if, for example, you see that your video ad greatly outperformed all of the other ad types, or if your carousel outperformed everything, for example, what you can do is then double down on that in this next round of creative testing. If you see a particular ad worked really well, pay attention to that style and you can try different variations of that. And what you're going to do here is get another 3 to 4 creatives ready for your testing. So here's how we set this up in a way that minimizes variables. Remember, we always want to run these tests in a clean environment, meaning we want to remove as many variables as possible. So what we're going to do here is take your best performing audience from the last test. We're going to duplicate that ad set, meaning it's going to be a brand new ad set, but targeting that same top performing audience from our first test. And we're going to create 3 to 4 new ads inside the ad test with our 3 to 4 new creatives. So let's say your videos outperformed everything else in the first round. We might double down on that. And in this round of testing, we might test 2 new video creatives and 1 new image. Okay, that's the advantage of the last round and having that data available to us. Now, if you want to test more creatives, let's say you've got the budget to test 6 or even 9 new creatives at a time, then go ahead and just duplicate that ad set multiple times and have 3 different ads inside each ad set, and each ad set can target the same audience. That's totally fine for the purpose of these tests. What you don't want to do in this case, though, is have the same ads running in multiple ad sets targeting the same audiences, because then you're not really testing anything in those duplicate ad sets, okay? So get your new ad sets and your new ads up and running, and the same thing happens. We run them for 5 to 7 days, then we come back and we make a decision as to which one performed the best. Once you can see which creatives then performed the best, it's time to test your headlines and copy, and I like to do exactly the same thing here. So here's how this would look. You would again duplicate your ad set with your best performing audience. Inside that ad set, you'll then have your ads. You want to have 4 ads inside this new ad set. So if you only had 3 last time, just duplicate 1, create a 4th. So you're going to take your 2 best creatives. 2 of the ads inside the ad set will have creative number 1, and the other 2 ads inside the ad set will have creative number 2. Now, what you're going to do is for creative number 1, you'll test new copy number 1, and you'll test new copy number 2 for the other version of creative number 1. Then again, we'll do creative number 2 and it will have the new copy piece number 1, and then creative number 2 again will have the second new piece of copy. So you're going to have your ad set with 4 ads, 2 creatives, and 2 pieces of new copy. Again, if you want to run more, you can simply duplicate that ad set, which will have another 4 ads in it, and do the same in there with your 3rd and 4th piece of copy. Run those for 5 days. Check out your results, see which ones are the winner, and you can keep iterating from here. Now, if you want to learn more about this, I actually have a video where I walked through how to use the data to then know what to test next. So once you've done these first few rounds of testing, and this is a process that lasts for weeks, if not months, to get it really dialed in, and then it's a lifelong process after that to continually improve and to scale and to keep your campaigns running. But you can actually start to decide what to test next in an intelligent way. So I've got a video on that. I'll put a link up to that very shortly. But before I do, just remember, if you enjoyed this video, please just hit the like button. It does mean a lot. It really helps out the channel. And if you want to hear more from me, hit subscribe, hit the little bell, and you'll just get notified on YouTube whenever I release a new video on marketing or digital advertising. Now, as I said, if you want to check out that video on how to use data to decide what to test next, that should be popping up somewhere around here. And I've also got another video on how to write better Facebook ad copy that might help you as well. So that should be popping up about here that you can check out now. All right, as always, thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.